in part 2 we want to look at the pistons and the cylinders and their symptoms. Now, the 50cc, which goes over here, has some carbon on the top and no blow-by. The rings look like they're in good shape. They all move, and there's no excess heat on anything. So it shows me that this 50cc is a good piston in good shape. On the other hand, this piston right here, now this is important for engine rebuilders. An engine rebuilder needs to take a look at the damaged equipment and be able to read the signs. That way he can, or she, can figure out what the problem is and how to fix it. Now if we look at this piston, put this laser pointer down here just a moment. If we look at this piston, there should be no blow-by or darkness, carbon, beneath the top ring. What this shows is a piston ring failure on the top. As you can see, it's all the way around. Now, the next thing I notice is these little marks right here. What these marks are seize marks, and that is where the piston gets so hot and overheated that it starts to stick in the cylinder because it gets too expanded. And then we have seize marks over here. And if you look right here, you can see the exhaust port, which is right there. Now, the next thing we want to do is to turn the piston over and look at the bottom of it. And what do we see? The bottom of the piston should not be black, especially where it's burning oil down here. So what this shows me is that the piston is getting way too hot on the crown. And this is the crown right here. And the oil is actually burned up here. If we look in the piston rings on the lens here, we can see bits of carbon where the rings have gotten stuck in the piston and they're not working correctly. Now let's go over what piston rings do in a two-stroke cylinder. There is an enormous explosion that happens in the cylinder head right here, which thrusts the piston downwards. Now what we have is piston rings that are mobile. Well, why aren't they fixed? Well, they're mobile. And I didn't know this for a long time, but the explosion actually goes down along the side of the piston ring. The explosion, the pressure gets behind the ring, expands the ring to the cylinder wall. So the explosion happens, the rings get wider because of the pressure behind the ring as it goes down. It's not the other way around. People usually think that spring tension holds the rings to the cylinder wall, which is not the case, and I didn't know that. Now we look at this piston, and I had an overheating problem with my 54mm air-cooled, and I thought it was just an air-cooled problem, but it would run for like 3 or 4 minutes and then almost seize up. Now what I found is that if we look at the piston that was in it, you want to look for what the signs are. And we have a top that's okay. There is no blow-by going down the sides. The rings are in good shape. We look on the bottom and you'll notice there is a slight brown dot. And that may be that the spark plug is a little hot, but no problem. But the other thing I noticed was the seize marks, which are right here on the back and the front. And that was odd to me, because this is a 54 millimeter. Okay, now we're going to go into part 3.